very much. So welcome to the very first, the inaugural State of the School address. I'm Marty Cheek. I'm the publisher of Morgan Life newspaper, and I'm also the moderator for the events tonight. And I just want to really thank you for coming out tonight. This is important, I think, community meeting for learning about what's happening in the school district and finding out what's happening and some of the issues that face the school district. I want to say, I want to actually welcome some of the board members that we have tonight. So we have our school board president, Gino Borzioli. Our vice president of the school board, Ron Wolf. And President David Gerard here in front. And trustee Donna Rubush, I saw her tonight. Trustees Bob Benevento or Rick Padillo, but I'm sure they're here in spirit. I'd also like to thank Steve Tate, our mayor, for being here tonight. And we also have two assistant superintendents tonight who will be part of the question and answer session, and it's Vaughn Myers and Kirsten Perez. Couldn't make it here tonight because they have prior engagement. So, but this is really a cool event, I think. It came about when I was here in this very room for the Chamber of Commerce breakfast about 5 or 6 months ago, and Mayor Steve Tate was giving kind of a Reader's Digest version of the State of the City address, and I thought, why don't we do something similar for the schools, because there's a lot of connection between our Morgan Hill Unified School District and also the community that we have. The schools really impact our community in terms of public safety, transportation, infrastructure, parks and recreation, city government, jobs, businesses, real estate. So it really has a ripple effect throughout the whole community. And it's really important for the community to know what exactly is happening in Morgan Hill Unified School District. So that was sort of the impetus. I talked to Steve Patondo about it, and his eyes lit up and said, yeah, let's really communicate with our community. What is happening in our school district, the great things that are happening in our schools, some of the construction, but also some of the challenges that we face as a community and public school. So we have two formats tonight, or kind of a double format. Steve will be talking for about 30 to 40 minutes about what's happening in the schools, and then we'll open it up to questions afterwards. And then after that, we can also have some chats and eat cookies and drink some water if you want. So, but I want everybody to welcome Steve Patondo, and he's going to give us our very first State of the School address.
Can you hear me? All right, this is what I do a lot. I hit the mic, so that's being Italian. I apologize in advance. Thank you, Morgan Hill Life. This is an amazing opportunity. There's so much I'm excited to talk about, but I can't tell you everything in this talk. There's really not enough time to mention everything, but I look forward to covering a great deal here. I'm exceptionally honored to stand before you today as the superintendent of Morgan Hill Unified School District, stepping into the shoes of Superintendent Wes Smith, who went on to other things. 3 years ago, it was a daunting task, and one I took with enthusiasm and passion. And we're here to continue MHUSD's path on success and progress. This is the inaugural State of the Schools address, the first of what is surely to become an annual event. And I could not be more proud to share with you the work that MHUSD team has done in helping our students excel and making our schools better and better each year. The state of our schools is, as a community, the state of our future. The future begins with our 8,700 students who attend class daily on one of our 14 campuses. Tonight, I will discuss with you our vision and where we are in relation to that vision. I will provide an overview of the challenges we face as a district and our strategies to address those issues and the challenges ahead as we continue to move our schools forward. We throughout the district are tapping our potential within to help inspire and drive forward successful fulfillment of our vision. Our central vision is that all students will receive an excellent education and be empowered to succeed in school. Our students will be prepared to achieve in a diverse global society and make meaningful contributions in their community. Students will become critical thinkers and problem solvers who can thrive in the challenges of the 21st century. We know that as a district, we cannot fulfill our vision alone. We rely on and partner with our parents. We partner with our world-class California universities, and we partner with businesses, both here in Morgan Hill and throughout the greater Santa Clara County. And we partner with many of you, our engaged community leaders. We are fortunate to be educating our students in the heart of a technology world where we have access to some of the most brilliant minds and great innovation around us in our area. American historian Daniel Boorstin once said that education is learning what you didn't even know you didn't know. As an educator for over 30 years, I'm constantly amazed about how much I learn every time I walk into one of our classrooms. Whether it's a kindergarten class or a 12th grade AP geology class, advanced placement geology class, there's so much out there that I didn't know I didn't know. Children are sponges. They are born knowing nothing more than the basic instincts of survival. Parents, friends, teachers, and community members are responsible for instilling in them their outlook on life. We can either build their confidence or we can tear them down. We can make them feel safe to express themselves or we can oppress them. We as adults play a pivotal role in their success and in their education and in life. Early literacy is the key to every student's academic success. Research out of Stanford University tells us that a child's vocabulary skills are linked to their economic backgrounds. By the age of 3, a child from a wealthy family is exposed to up to 30 million words, more than a child from a poor family. That is a gap that many of our students in our district have on the first day of kindergarten. 41% of our students in Morgan Hill come from economically disadvantaged households. Now, there's little we can do to control the lack of family income, but we must do everything possible and strive to do more to help and support every student in our district, whether advantaged or disadvantaged. What is interesting, however, in that Morgan Hill, even with the majority of households above the poverty level, 92% of those children are below kindergarten reading level when students enter our kindergarten classes. 92% below kindergarten level when they enter. But by 3rd grade, which is the key turning point for our students in education, 77% of those same students are at or above 3rd grade reading level. We are proud of that number. We have plenty of room to grow. We know from the numbers that I just cited that there are outside forces fighting our quest to reach 100%, but we will not give up obtaining full literacy for our students. As we look at early education, I'm pleased to announce that this year we have expanded our hugely successful transitional kindergarten, TK. We've expanded it to 3 additional schools, and we've expanded the age ability by a month more worth of students, allowing the students to participate in this vital program. Transitional kindergarten is a free, full-day early education program that provides an essential bridge between pre-kindergarten and the primary grades. It enables children to develop academic, social, and emotional skills they need to be successful once they enter kindergarten. By laying a strong foundation, transitional kindergarten helps to boost confidence, boosts early literacy, and closes achievement gaps, and it advances student performance in later grades. Parent engagement is also gaining more momentum in the district. A parent being involved in their child's education, whether it be in our classrooms or at home, it's the greatest indicator of student success. Students spend about 13% of the year in our classrooms, but the rest of the time is spent at home or around other adults. Keeping learning going once they leave our campuses is one of the most important things that parents can do for their children. But we're not satisfied with just an increased parent engagement. We want all parents to be engaged and feel welcome in our classrooms. And, of critical importance, they must feel comfortable enough to have conversations with our staff about the help they feel their child will need. That is why, under the leadership of Dr. Ramon Zavala, our English Learner Master Plan is quickly becoming a plan that many other school districts will soon utilize as a standard for English learners, a model plan. The EL Master Plan is an overarching plan that provides coherent pre-kindergarten through 12th grade pathways to engage all English learners in high-level, multilingual learning opportunities. Imagine all English learners in MHUSD schools to be academically successful, as well as fluent and literate in 2 or more languages. It's happening now for some English learners, and intentional actions are being taken so we are able to reach all English learners. In order for us to achieve our vision for English learner success, we need to engage better with the English learner families and the communities to participate in that progress. Here are just a few of the many ways we are planning to do that. We're going to redesign and administer and enhance the English Learner Family Survey to determine strengths, resources, and needs of EL families. We're going to incorporate parent communication strategies into school plans, addressing how each school will work to specifically engage and communicate with parents of English learners. And at each of our schools, we're going to establish parent centers. At the district, we know that for low socioeconomic and EL parents alike, there are inherent financial and language barriers at school events. These are barriers that keep people from participating in those events. But whether it is because of scheduling, transportation, finances, or communication difficulties, we cannot just sit back and accept some of our parents do not feel comfortable engaging in our schools. And we need to help their children excel by engaging those parents to engage us. That's why we've also launched a CARE team. This action team, headed by one of our dedicated counselors, Andrea Bird, it has a mission to help identify students in need. And it's there to plan home visits so that we can, as a district, better understand how to support families in a more holistic way by connecting them to the services that they need. If parents and students feel more secure at home, they're more likely to be involved at school. We're doing everything we can to help our families connect with services so that they can thrive. We know that the state of our schools is strong. And the state of our schools is strong because of our teachers, our principals, our staff, and because all our parents who are actively engaged in our school campuses. Any school, though, can attest to the fact that without a strong, dedicated group of teachers and classified as the backbone of the district, we would fail. We are extremely fortunate in Morgan Hill that we have such amazing individuals working for us. Custodians, bus drivers, service and clerical staff, teachers and administrators. This group is devoted, and they're also enthusiastic about our students, passionate about our students, and where we are headed as a district. It's also the dedication and hard work of those individuals that allow us to begin this school year with a new program. the 6th grade students at the middle schools. Our parents understand how beneficial 3 years, as opposed to 2 years, in the middle schools will help their children. Not only will they be able to grow a strong relationship with teachers and have school identity over 3 years, but they will be able to build a stronger community with one another. And it's to help them move through these pivotal adolescent years together. Our team spent the last year planning and preparing for the friendly student integration into a multi-teacher day for 6th graders. In turn, to help build confidence in our 6th graders, so that when they graduate to 7th grade, they're better prepared for a 6th teacher day. We have felt overwhelming support from our community for this transition. We received great feedback from our parents on what they wanted to see, and I'm pleased to say that our teams are well on their way to meeting those expectations this year. I thank all the parents, community members, and staff who made this transition possible. Thank you all. Sobrato High School was just ranked the top 4% of all public and private high schools across the nation by U.S. News and World Report. It was not chance that got them there. It was the hard work and dedication of our Sobrato teachers, staff, and those who supported them. Last year, Live Oak High School was awarded the very meaningful Caring School Climate Award from Silicon Valley's Project Cornerstone program. Amazing. This award is part of the Asset Champions Award, and these awards are designated to celebrate schools for their commitment to making Silicon Valley a better place for young people to live and grow. And what better place than Morgan Hill? The Caring School Climate Award is designated specifically to recognize model schools that are transforming their campuses into caring communities where all students are valued and welcomed and respected. Live Oak is certainly that school. But what I need to make clear to you is that it is also the persistence, the skills, and the dedication of all our teachers across the district that give us the ability to receive these awards and recognitions. The students graduating from Sobrato, Live Oak, Central, and Community Adult School are developed in all our schools, and they don't just appear as 9th graders in Morgan Hill. The vast majority of our students start here and graduate from here. We are so proud of both our high schools, but we are also proud of the work that our elementary and middle schools, all the work that they do to help make that possible. All of our schools are a pipeline to another school. They are independent and interdependent at the same time. This is a unified effort in a unified school district, developing our students from preschool to graduation. High school graduation rates, which ours are high, also translate into financial benefits for our students in our community. It's a simple equation. Education contributes to economic gains for our students, our families, and for all of Morgan Hill. You don't achieve those gains without setting a high bar. All 4 of our comprehensive secondary schools have now been recognized by the state of California as California Gold Ribbon schools. This is the highest honor in the state that a school can achieve. On top of that, last year Britton Middle School was also honored by the California State Board Association, the School Board Association, as a Golden Bell recipient. We set a bar high for our schools, and I'm proud to say we are reaching those goals. As parents and community members, we work to raise each student as a well-rounded human being. Our comprehensive education makes certain that a sampling of all the great things life has to offer is available to help build a character and also to help them understand the world around them much better. But what does it actually mean to have a well-rounded child? in a diverse and global society. And why is that important? When our children grow into adults and leave the security of home, our area, for college, the military, the career, we want to make sure they are equipped to take on whatever challenges life has for them. At MHUSD, we feel a deep obligation to help all of our students prepare for the unexpected. An obligation to help them understand the world around them, to give them the confidence and the courage to interact with their peers, and especially for those who may not be exactly like themselves, to understand those that are not like themselves. Diversity in our classrooms and across our campuses help our students better handle and celebrate diversity in the real world. Not every child is raised the same way. There are different cultures, there's different socioeconomic backgrounds, and how can we expect students to grow and thrive in a global environment if they are not able to interact with and accept and learn from others who are not exactly like themselves? There is no richer society than a diverse society. Our campuses are as diverse as the world we live in. Our schools are designed as the center and focus of the neighborhoods around them. Neighborhoods, elementary schools, are best for both the students and the community, and they reflect those neighborhoods. As students promote through the grade levels, their world expands to other communities, into the middle schools, then high school, and then off to college and career. So every student is unique in personality, unique in strengths, and unique in experiences. We strive to foster a cohesive environment for all our students by teaching them to respect each other and use kindness as a way to bridge the gap between themselves and other students. We must celebrate student diversity, recognize the supreme value of multiple ways of learning, valuing unique assets, and be better by overcoming disabilities and challenges in order to contribute to a world-class experience and rich, rich community. Along with the lessons of diversity in people, we also seek to show our students diversity in education. Our schools exemplify cultural centers where students flourish in world languages, theater, music, art. We are constantly creating new ways for students to engage in both the arts and the sciences. Jackson Academy of Math and Music is another of the many great examples where teaching the arts is a better way to connect with students with learning with the world, connecting with the world at large. Through use of music and by teaching the history of music, students are learning more about how music and the arts influence our daily lives and how it impacts the communities across the world. In today's fast-paced world, to have a well-rounded child is also to teach the child how to use technology effectively and efficiently. So how do we prepare students for a world that's completely dependent on technology? Last year, we launched a dynamic plan to ensure that all of our students have access to help them learn and to prepare them for the present and the future world that actually defines our community. Every school in our district is now equipped with Chromebooks, and students utilize them every day. Our 7th through 12th grade students receive a Chromebook at the beginning of the year to use as their own until the last day of school. In our elementary schools, each student has daily access to technology devices. Every campus has free Wi-Fi for our students to utilize. We are also using this technology to help bridge the achievement gap. When every student has equal access to technology, we not only teach them about the equipment and devices, but we are providing them with the 21st century tools, the knowledge, the skills to succeed no matter what their wealth level. Right after graduation in our district, many students choose to go to college, or they choose to go to the military, or they choose to go straight into the workforce. At MHUSD, we support all of our students, and we want to give every student who walks onto our campus the best chance at success for his or her uniquely chosen path. So, for this key reason, we are investing more in Career Tech Education, or CTE. CTE has the potential to help every student when they choose college, military, or career after high school graduation. CTE provides students of all ages with the academic and technical skills, with the knowledge and the training necessary to succeed in the future careers, and most importantly, to become lifelong learners. We look forward to partnering with local Morgan Hill businesses such as Mission Bell, Leal Vineyards, Kaiser Permanente, Specialized, and many, many more to make this program a complete success. We have commitment from many of our local businesses to help us. The manufacturing, healthcare, and hospitality industry in our area is booming. Through CTE programs, internships, and apprenticeships, we will be setting up our students for the local and national workforce. CTE paves a path for students to choose what they love to do, and it also moves them quickly toward a strong income in that field. But also, for those who take CTE courses and continue on to college, we're teaching them the skills they can use to maintain a good paying job, a desirable job, while they're in college. They could also cut down on college student loan debt and advanced pre-courses necessary for a higher degree. CTE programs also instill the specific general necessary skills that will enable graduates to thrive in the workforce. Aristotle once said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. At MHUSD, we believe that too. Around the district, we've had discussions about a restorative justice and positive behavior intervention supports program, PBIS. So restorative justice and PBIS on our campuses is something we take very seriously at MHUSD. The emotional health of our students is just as important as the health of their minds. We are more than just an educational institution where students come to learn subjects. We are creating well-rounded students who understand compassion. They have the ability to work in a diverse setting. They understand the importance of community service. And, most of all, they understand the huge responsibility they have as the next generation of citizens and leaders. We have been very driven at the district in our quest to put high-quality people in leadership roles. And these people are able to do research and implement the changes necessary to keep our students ahead of the game. Our society is shifting rapidly, but that doesn't mean we're going to jump on the bandwagon for the newest fad that we're going to take on just like anybody else. We're given one opportunity to educate our children, and we take that charge with great care. So we research, we do our homework, we do our due diligence to look at how every change affects students in a positive way to ensure that any big moves we are making are for the maximum benefit of our students and the community. Over the last few years, we've heard over and over again, we need to be more focused on encouraging students toward the area of science. So, living this close to Google, Facebook, Apple, you can name 100 others, it's something that should come as no surprise that this was a request. We are very excited that after many community meetings, research, and working on building partnerships this year, Paradise Valley has opened its doors as an engineering academy. San Martin Glen has begun to utilize new environmentally friendly STEM-ready classrooms for their Environmental Science Academy that was begun. And Britain has begun its partnership with the Silicon Valley Tech Museum. Our students are not the only ones who are served well by our focus on critical thinking and problem solving. With the sudden closure of Silicon Valley Flex Academy in July, the district was faced with a possible influx of 167 students that needed to be placed on our campuses a mere 2 weeks before the beginning of the new school year. The MHUSD team district, and schools pulled together, opened our doors, and responded quickly and efficiently to this new last-minute arrival of students. And I'm proud to say that we have successfully placed every displaced student possible. Every student who registered with us is now in class on our campuses, and we have established a new distance learning program. In direct response to the closure of the Flex Charter School, we pushed forward our plans for an independent learning secondary school. This was so that we could better accommodate those special students who thrive in a more multidimensional learning environment. And we took advantage of the robust digital programs and the interactive learning that we had just finished piloting. We were able to shift some of the programs to make space at the Loretta Bonfante Johnson Education Center. And I'm pleased to report that the students we have enrolled in this new school are thriving. I've been there 4 times. They're excited to be there, and even more excited by the vigorous online learning program that we are using. So looking to the future needs of our students as they and the world become more technologically savvy, encounter less traditional workspaces, and we begin to understand how to better educate students on their personal level, we know that our facilities must follow suit. Our students need access to technology to learn about technology, but they also need facilities that facilitate the learning process in a way that keeps education in touch with the outside world. Most importantly, it maximizes their learning potential. By utilizing Measure G funds in a researched and well-thought-out way, we are not only staying true to our commitment to the taxpayers, those taxpayers who have entrusted us with these funds, but we are advancing our students' education as well as positively impacting the community. We're finding ways to maximize learning for our students while also creating aesthetically comfortable environments. Our schools are more than just classrooms. They are the focus of our communities. They are the gathering places, and we want to make our community proud. I take a couple of minutes here to walk you through where we have spent our Measure G funds and show you some examples of how we're improving the learning environment and the community at the same time. First, we needed an infrastructure. A new technology infrastructure was the first item on our list for Measure G funds. Last year, we partnered with Cisco, and we put in a state-of-the-art infrastructure for technology which connects all of our schools digitally and provides fast, reliable, wireless internet service all across our district. After the infrastructure was in place, we purchased, configured, and aligned Chromebooks with our instructional programs. Not a simple task. $5 million of Measure G funds were also used to build a brand new multi-use building on the Ansnell campus, which houses the charter school in Morgan Hill. We also revamped San Martin Gwin, thanks to Measure G funds, by modernizing the administration building and the quad, and we're including outdoor classrooms. These are only high visible projects, but what you might not see are the fire alarms, the roofing, the security cameras, the fencing, the new bathrooms, and many, many other facilities upgrades around the district. One of our future Measure G projects is the rebuilding of Britton Middle School. The new conceptual design is utilizing the latest in technology and green construction methods. The new school will face Monterey Road, helping to give the downtown area the entire new feel. Funding at our schools is at the forefront of many conversations around the community, and Measure G is supporting that. California schools receive a large majority of their funding from the state, however, primarily from income and sales tax revenues, but also from local property taxes. And these local property taxes are collected by the state from the local level. By their nature, income and sales tax are more volatile. They're more volatile revenue sources because they can rise and decline dramatically. As a result of this volatility, California school districts face dramatic cyclical funding, which is variations as the economy changes. And we know, if you've been following the economy in the last couple days, it's swinging all over the place. Over the past 5 years, the school district funding has been partially restored to its pre-recession levels. However, we recognize that the inherent economic volatility in our state revenues will limit the ability of the state to fund education, especially during periods of economic downturn. For that very reason, it's imperative that we keep a reserve on hand with an unpredictable economy. Any reserve is a safety net that allows a district to meet its obligations as unplanned changes in revenues and expenditures occur. Districts in California have little control over revenues. Those revenues are mainly controlled by the state government. Historically, state revenues have been undependable, even in good times. A reserve fund allows the district to continue to meet its obligations and stay in business even when faced with unexpected expenses. Unlike some schools, closing our doors and telling our students to go elsewhere is not an option. One important thing to remember, though, is that the reserves are one-time funds. If you have reserves, once used, they are not replenished, except for purposeful action. Reserves will help carry a public organization through financially difficult years, but a budget cannot sustain itself over time if the structural expenditures outrace the dependable income. Even so, our district finances are strong, and we built in projected increases in the state's funding formula, which allow us to spend down our current healthy reserve to give salary increases. When negotiations with our employee groups are completed, our budget will reflect a reserve spending impact for the purposes of salary increases, but at the same time, we will maintain long-term solvency. Directly related to our reserves and financial stewardship, our bond rating, MHUSD's bond rating, was upgraded from AA2 to AA1, and that was done in November 2015. With the upgrade, Morgan Hill Unified School District joins a very small group of school districts in California recognized for their sound management practices and financial strength. Bond ratings are critical. Why? In the financial marketplace, where higher ratings indicate strong investments, it garners lower interest rates. Higher bond ratings garner lower interest rates. Since bonds are repaid through local property tax assessments, the lower the interest rate translates to lower taxes for property owners. In 2013, the funding formula changed. The legislature approved the local control funding formula, otherwise known as LCFF, and that's dramatically changed how schools are funded. The LCFF by itself creates no new sources of revenue, same sources of revenue. But its provisions determine how available state revenues will be distributed to districts. After LCFF is fully implemented in a few years, all districts will receive a uniform base amount per pupil. But there will be differing amounts depending on the grade level. In addition to the base grant, per pupil base grant, districts receive additional funds based on what they call the unduplicated number of high-need students. And those high-need students are defined as low-income, English learner, homeless students, and foster children. Approximately 43% of this district's population qualifies as high need under the state's definition. Although LCFF changed the allocations of state funding, it did not address the funding inequities for districts located in areas of high property taxes. And these are called basic aid or excess tax districts. The state still continues to allow basic aid districts to retain all their excess property taxes that exceed their LCFF allocation. We are not a basic aid district. We do not receive extra taxes. 1/3 of all the school districts in San Francisco Bay Area are basic aid. Many of those in Santa Clara County, as you can imagine. Due to their high property taxes, these districts have available resources greatly exceeding our resources, or districts like ours. To other unified districts in Santa Clara County, Morgan Hill ranks the lowest in LCFF funding. In addition to the gap, with the highest funded district in the county receiving approximately $2,350 more per student, $2,350 more per student, or 30% more per student than Morgan Hill Unified School District receives. So these are challenges. Even with all our successes, we still face challenges as a district. Like the majority of school districts across California, we are struggling also to recruit highly qualified teachers. This problem stems from the high cost of living in and around Morgan Hill and how MHUSD is funded by the state. As I stated previously, many districts throughout Santa Clara are receiving as much as 30% more per pupil than we receive. So it isn't just a local funding gap. Consider this in California. The latest national estimates rank our state 46th in per capita spending among the 50 states. 46th. We used to be in the top 10. Our district's funding challenge is sure to grow by losing another $1.6 million if Prop 30 supplemental tax measures expire this year, if there's no replacement measure. And we're not the only district. Every public school district in the state will lose a proportion of their funds when this expires. But a replacement measure is now on the November ballot. It's called Prop 55. Prop 55 extends high-income earner personal income tax increases. High-income earner, those that make over, I believe it's $250,000 a year, are taxed. And that would restore the lost funds when Prop 30 expires. A challenge, which we can overcome. Another challenge we face, which is unique to Morgan Hill, is the amount of land our district covers. Morgan Hill is the largest geographic school district in the entire county. We cover an area of nearly 300 square miles. This large rural setting raises the transportation costs of the district. We do not have state income for transportation in addition, so this program draws resources away from the core instructional program and personal funds. But the uniqueness of our district gives us cause to keep our transportation because we need to get those kids to school. Other districts in Santa Clara County do not provide transportation. A lot of those students and a lot of those districts have regional transportation options, or they walk to school, or they find other means. So what do? How do we face these challenges, and how do we overcome them? We have to keep them in front of us, and we face them head on. As an example, for recruiting, besides strong recruiting practices and reaching out personally to those that we want in our district, we have started offering a new tuition reimbursement program for individuals that are interested in the teaching profession. These might be employees with us now that are not teachers or community members. And the reimbursement for tuition is to the tune of $10,000. We are hoping that incentive will help develop potential teachers in our community. Although we cannot solve the high cost of living in and around Morgan Hill, we've been working with the city also to look at affordable housing options for our teachers. I believe there was a meeting today about that. We do face challenges as a district, and we're committed to tackling those challenges every day. At the same time, we have so many accomplishments and milestones to celebrate. Our district is getting stronger every year. We are pushing harder. We are meeting higher expectations, and our students are excelling. We educate all children, and we find ways to get better on purpose every day, every year. So I thank you to everyone who's here. I see so many people have contributed to this district. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you to our parents and community members who volunteer and provide invaluable feedback throughout the year. Thank you so much for our powerful home and school clubs who help us move mountains of school activities. Our home and school clubs and our parent groups, they launch new projects every year. We thank you for that. Thank you to our English Learner Advisory Committees. They guide and support exceptional practices for our students, and they're there for us. And finally, thank you to specifically our teachers and staff. You make this district great. Thank you.
So I just want to mention there's a couple more board members that came in while she was talking. I want to introduce Tom Arnett, our latest board member. Down? Here there it is. Okay. So now the question and answer part of our evening. I would like to suggest that, or I'd like to put the ground rules up. What I would like is, this is a community liaison kind of community event for the Morgan Hill Unified School District. And so the first few questions I would like to have from community members, and then if employees of the school district or elected officials want to ask questions later on, they can do that. So, but if there are any questions from the audience in terms of community members, and Doug Muirhead has a question, so you speak loud.
All right, thank you. I was very pleased to hear that you had this CARE program, but it made me think, what's your view on other opportunities for providing services to a population that's gathered together? And what made me think of this, the other day I read about a dental program in Central Valley where the students can get an evaluation and a cleaning. 75% of them, they're done. Their parents don't have to take time off from work to go and do a dental visit. And so it just made me think that there are perhaps opportunities that are not incompatible with your education mission, and how you felt about that, given whatever constraints you have. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the part where I could reflect back on everything I took out of the presentation, because this leads right into one of the projects that we're doing. But we do, currently we do outreach through our community liaisons. We have a program that we started 2 years ago. Every child gets health insurance. So we do an active, very proactive engagement with the community at their homes if necessary to get children health insurance, even if they're undocumented. Parents are undocumented. So we do that a lot. Actually, we've got a partnership, and they'll come in and go through the cards and work with parents, and we do that outreach. And we have a new project with Foothill. I'm doing that. They hit the camera. With Foothill, could you speak to the Foothill Center that we're working on? This is Kirsten Perez, our amazing CEO, who is the best CEO in the state.
So an amazing partnership with Foothill Health Centers to provide our students with access on-site to what are called student-based health centers. And so we're in the process right now of working to construct a new center that will be at PA Walsh School, that will have optometry services, it will have dental, and it will have health services. Those are available during the school day to our students, and they can receive those services on site. We know how important health is to our students to make sure that they are present in our classrooms. So providing that to our students on site is a huge convenience to our families. That facility is also open to the public during non-school times, and so it provides a greater benefit to the larger community here in Morgan Hill. And we know there's a need for affordable access to health centers.
Recently, I've had one of my real estate clients that's come to me and asked me, what is Morgan Hill School District, because it covers such a large, diverse area, what are we doing to potentially look at expanding the high school situation? Apparently there's a very dynamic scenario that's going on with the South San Jose area being in Morgan Hill School District, that they don't feel like they're being serviceable enough.
Sure. So it's been a challenge, I think, as long as the district has existed as a unified district. And for those of you that don't know, we go we incorporate San Martin all the way to Gilroy. Church Street, I think, is the boundary, all the way up into San Jose, which is Burnell. We go over to Santa Cruz County, up to Loma Prieta, Los Gatos, and we actually cut through Cove Park, so we go all the way to Stanislaus County over on that side. And then in San Jose, it actually juts up from Bailey up into the state parks up there. So, it is a challenge, right? Especially being the concentration of population in the center of Morgan Hill, and then the outliers with San Martin and San Jose, which are very much a part of our community, but the population is a little heavier there than in the rural areas. So what we know now is that our high schools are reaching capacity. We don't like large high schools. It doesn't make for a warm, unique population. When schools get too big in high schools, they end up breaking them up into houses and things like that. So there's options for that. But we want to keep our high schools small compared to some of the urban schools. So we're looking at properties as the city has just approved growth up to, I want to say 58,000. What is it? 58,200. So we know that there's going to be growth, and that we will need eventually a high school, junior high, and some elementary schools. So currently we're looking at properties, but it's going to be the ones that we're going to use, look at, is not going to be by another high school. It's going to be in an area where there's population need and where there's a lot of distance. So in the south area is one of our considerations.
So, question here.
Yes, I was wondering how you're really increasing parent and community involvement when we shot down Parent Engage Morgan Hill. Parents don't feel welcome at board meetings. Parents are falsely accused of things, and false lawsuits are filed against them without prior board approval. And also, now parents have to get fingerprinted at their own cost to volunteer in the schools, and they also have to go get TV tested on their own time with their own money. When a lot of the cases against people abusing children have been fingerprinted staff members, where it would really be more beneficial to do online training. At my school, they do a law review, and the teachers and staff are trained on how to report, how to be mandated reporters, and other ways to protect our children. How are you really encouraging parent involvement?
Well, quite a mix of statements there. I think some of them are clearly accusatory. Some of them I think are legitimate questions. Let me address the fingerprinting issue. The law is that volunteers, employees, and regular volunteers will be fingerprinted. Anybody that comes to a school and is alone with the child, might be a a walk-on coach, it might be somebody driving kids on a field trip. We do the background checks on them. We've just built in the capacity to fingerprint at the district office, and so we've enhanced that ability. We got the word out to the sites. We started the process, and some of the sites are now supplementing funds for parents. Some are, the home and school clubs are paying for it, and we're looking at a budget to also support that for those that can't afford to do that. So when we put together our budget for that and dedicate the funds, it'll be in some ways like a scholarship, but anybody on free and reduced will be able to get support that way. And we'll probably push that out to the schools because they're the ones identifying volunteers and stuff. You talked about mandates. Mandated training is, because you're a teacher at a school right in San Jose, mandated training is a requirement for all schools, and we do our mandated training. Every single employee is trained. So the hurdle or the barrier of fingerprinting and TB testing is for the safety of kids. That is what it's all about, and that's our priority. So we're not going to give that up for fear that, did I lose battery? Okay. But you could all hear me, right? Okay. We're not going to give that up for fear of losing parents. What we need to do is engage parents and tell them it doesn't matter if they don't know how to do the child's work at 4th grade, or that they don't necessarily know the language. We need to engage those parents to get them into school. The number one indicator of success, as we talked about, is the parent participation. First off, parent education, but parent participation. So I believe it's parent education mostly because those people that aren't comfortable coming into a school, whether it be language or time or whatever, that they don't. And so we need to do the outreach. We can't let them go by without saying, your child is important. We need to make that important for them and tell them how important it is. Okay, I'm not sure if I could address some of the other issues. Maybe we could do that offline.
Okay. Board meeting members, Mr. Benavides.
So in terms of the facilities, we closed the Burnett Elementary School and transformed it into a high school. But the whole area right there has grown tremendously since we did that 5 years ago. If you just drive down there, houses everywhere. We've had a whole bunch of development over there, a whole bunch of new children coming in, and I'm wondering if you have any plans to spend any of the Measure G funds to get those Capriano parents and all those new parents a neighborhood school, because that's really lacking over there. I see that as a problem. Do you see that as a possibility, looking at it in the future, exploring it, Capriano parents, giving them a neighborhood school?
The Measure G funds are for a different purpose than capacity for students. That comes from developer fees and hopefully a matching grant. If the state voters pass Prop 51, there will be grant funds available for building schools. So the predictability of where the growth was going to be at the time Burnett was closed, and I'm going to have to ask somebody else what year that was. It was long before my time. 2009? Okay, so somewhere in there. So clearly the district made a decision to consolidate because for funding and whatever reasons to consolidate. So the Burnett site was vacant and available. And when it came time to bring our adult ed back to the campus that they actually funded in the center, and we had an opportunity to build an education center, which now has 5 programs on it at the Bonfonte Johnson Education Center. It's got the adjunct program, it's got the new high school program, the independent study program, Central High, and post-secondary education. We have 5 programs at the Bonfonte Johnson Education Center thriving right now. And so that is a great use, and one of the initial uses of Measure G. But your point is exactly why the growth in all parts of Montreal, exactly why we're looking at land in different areas. because we know, as I just mentioned, that we're going to need secondary schools and we're going to need elementary schools right now. You know, the board made a commitment in listening to the community members that our Morgan Hill wanted class size reduction in primary grades. And so we now have it all the way transitional kindergarten through 3rd grade. But even so, we've had to expand classrooms to do that. You can't put the same amount of kids in smaller classes without having more classrooms. So, so what used to be enough facilities for the same amount of students is no longer enough facilities. So we've expanded a little by little. So we do need to look at buildings. Right now, the growth of the city is to not replenish. How do everyone say it? Is to address the housing that has been backlogged. So the housing developments have been approved, and they've been placed in different areas where there's been developers that wish to develop housing units. Well, those didn't come in nice, neat school packages. So, and in areas where we could build a school. So what we've had to do, as these pockets have been infilled, is transport kids to schools that had room in different classrooms. And we're still doing that to this day. When school opens, we have a lot of movement because we're full in different classrooms in different areas. So it doesn't come into nice, neat packages. So we are looking at different areas. So thanks for the question.
Could you please share the acreage requirement for each elementary, middle school, and high school? That would help people maybe understand the amount of land we need.
Sure. So the state has it very explicitly spelled out. We're looking at 10 acres for an elementary school, 20 acres for a junior high, and 40 acres for most of the high school.
That kind of thing.
10 acres. Are you calling on or am I calling?
The woman next to him.
Yeah, Mary Patterson, parent. So I've had the opportunity to meet a bunch of our wonderful new teachers, including Mr. Papa, and there's others here. And I'd like to hear just a little bit more about the affordable housing plan. Are we actually going to get some kind of a relief for our teachers so they'll stay and make a life here, or can you give us some hope?
Sure. So tiny houses? So there's different types of affordable housing plans that a school district can engage in. Would you like to speak to that? So there's BMR program. Actually, Maureen, Steve Tate could speak to it. There's a BMR program, which is below market rate program that people can qualify based on their income. And so the city currently has that. And we do have some teachers that have taken advantage of that. So one of the discussions we're having is how much can this program section off just for educators? And because you get it, there's an allocation that comes with each development. So a development goes to the city and says, hey, we'd like to build, and then there's requirements for how many units are going to be below market rate as a contribution, and they get actually awarded more points because of that, is the way I understand it. And so, or it's a requirement. And then those units then go out to those that can qualify. And if we can, what our desire is to say, let's do it for educators. If we can do a certain section just for educators and see if we can help with that. There's other types of affordable housing programs in other districts, and those are challenging. There's many barriers. So if we're going to jump into something like building our own units and then becoming a landlord for our employees, then we want to remove any barriers that there might be. What happens if you bring in, as an example, one of my questions, what happens if you bring in a teacher, and one of the enticements is that we have a house at low cost that you can rent, or you can lease for that lease as a district, or does the lease connect with the job. So those are just one of the many different concerns in building our own housing development for teachers. But there are school districts that are doing it right now. And there's some state relief on that as well, some recent legislation that went through for that.
Okay, more questions?
Thank you for that question.
So in your speech, you said you're offering outreach and breaking barriers between the learners. And that there's new programs started that Andrea started this week working with. How many English learners families do we have here today? Were they notified of this week?
So they were notified if they read Morgan Hill Life or Morgan Hill Times, and I think the school district put out a press release too. So, but if I can say something, this wasn't a school district meeting. It was sponsored by Morgan Hill Life. So we tried. We go out to 18,000 copies mailed out. So
The school district's not responsible for notifying parents?
well, it was a Morgan Hill. So it was a Morgan Hill Life event. So. So it was not a district event. So. Any more questions? Yes.
I'm a taxpayer and a teacher. I'm a parent, and I'm responsible for the English language learners at Live Oak High School. I'm 100% supported by my administration. They would move mountains to try to help English language learners. However, their hands are tied, and I was just at the union meeting where it came to my attention that the latest budget shows that there is a significant carryover of supplemental funds that are designated to EL learners. Why were these funds not used to help students when the achievement gap is so persistent in Morgan Hill Unified School? And before you answer that, we could have had EL support in 4 classes. I have 29 students in my class, where I have 32. We could have had tech training on the Google Chromebooks. Some of my ELs didn't know what a cursor was. We could have put that money towards internet access for ELs who do not have internet in their homes. We could have attracted and retained teachers who had EL training. These teachers could have helped their students, or labs even. We could have paid for transportation to and from after-school sports and activities, because these are unattainable to those students without vehicles. And just to reiterate, a significant carryover of supplemental funds that are designated to EL learners.
So this was a union meeting that you went to that this was stated?
This was a hired group to look into our budget.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that statement or the information received, or if you give me the name of the group, we could check. So it was a.
Steve, there's significant carryover in the EL funds.
Okay.
Why?
Okay, we could address the carryover for all amounts, but those are identified at the school level, the use of those individual school funds. So I don't want to deflect it to the school, because I'm not exactly sure which budget you're talking about. Pardon me?
So this seems like a question that maybe needs to be taken offline after this meeting. So it sounds like there's confusion in terms of the question, and I suggest Steve Patondo and you can maybe talk afterwards. So any more questions from the community members? So anybody from the employees of the school district might want to ask a question?
Mark Saylor from my local high school. I'd like to make an allusion to the movie Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. The families will come, the children will be there, the teachers will be there, but will they stay? As you know, right now the trend is we have teachers that stay with us, they're visit, we're really grateful for that, but then we lose them. very proud to say I've been here since 1987 from New Jersey. And my other colleagues have been here and committed to this district. Kathy Hansel, Freddie Lee, I've been many people who have dedicated themselves. We don't have that because we don't have the salaries to compete with other districts. So my question is to the board, to the administration, what is the plan?
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. It's difficult to address that in the presentation, but I've given direction to our bargaining team to focus on salary. That is of highest priority. When you're in a situation where you are competing, and that's your point, that we're competing with others and others are leaving the district, that we need to put our resources toward our vital organs. And I consider salary a vital organ for our employees. And that's where we need to put our efforts in settling the contracts. We need to get those salaries going. With teachers, we just finished the first year of a 3-year contract. We don't even have to open. But the fact is that we've got the advantage of having reserves now, and we are committed to spending down those reserves in order to get the salaries up. And that's my direction to our bargaining team.
Will that in any way be in conflict with your amount in terms of the bond and the interest? I know that has been a concern. I would hope that concern would be diminished as you consider keeping our teachers, especially those who are extraordinary.
That's a great question too. It's a good analysis because it's a balance, right? You're a better investment if you have funds, but no, the bond. We're not worried about the bond rating because I don't think the bond rating is not going to go down if we're solvent and we're spending the money wisely. The money we get is to spend, not to save. And the fact that we've had some situations where we got one-time funds. Remember I talked about basic aid, where we went over the top? 1 year we were basic aid, and then we fell off of basic aid. That 1 year meant that we got some excess taxes, and when we got that excess tax, we incorporated it into our budget, but we didn't spend it. It became part of our reserves, and one of the reasons why our reserves are there. So it's really important to look at that. The bond rating is what it is. If it was AA2, if it got below that, then we'd worry a little bit because then when we want to pass a partial tax or another bond, then we might have a challenge because we wouldn't be rated as high. Challenge to the public, challenge to the investors. But thank you for the question. I was actually hoping somebody would ask the question. We really want to put the efforts in salary.
Okay. More questions? Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to an end. I think this was a really good session. This was our very first one. I was totally nervous, if you didn't notice. But, but I think this was also a good communication between the school district and the community to find out some of the things that are happening and some of the challenges that we face. And I encourage people to be involved in the school district because I have a passion for education and young people. And hopefully you do too. Obviously you're here tonight and that shows that. So, and let's give Steve Batondo a round of applause.